I was trying to get some rest. Unfortunately, I'm exhausted because I'm tired of reading the feeds with such lack of empathy and compassion for the human condition. And so, if you don't know me, I am a hardcore Christ follower. I don't consider myself Christian because I feel like the Christian today is actually the Pharisees and Sadducees in the New Testament scripture, that they hold the law without a certain level of love and compassion for the human being. And what this outlooks in pictures is finding and building a case on why it's justified to shoot unarmed people or people that are not directly a threat. If a person is running away, right, they're probably in fight or flight, or they're probably scared, or he's probably drunk, right? Is there not another tactic that we can use by using deadly force? The officer, whether or not he had a taser or not, he's running away. He's literally call out for a warrant arrest. But it is not okay to kill a man because he's afraid or drunk and running away from not wanting to be arrested. In the perfect world, in an ideal world, yes, he should have complied. No one's negating that, right? But if one of your family members or relatives died because they simply try to avoid getting arrested, that he had a wife and daughter. And not saying that he's the most ideal representation of a perfect citizen in America, but the man deserved to live. He deserved a second chance. He deserved to be able to still breathe. And so the lack of empathy that I have with my Christian brothers and sisters, it is frustrating because, again, if you're supposed to be the salt of America, of the world, right? And there's so many Christian churches in America, why are we struggling in the area of love and compassion? And why are y'all the ones, right? Of course, I can't say everyone is all inclusive, but what I will say is that the large amount in numbers of people that are just building cases of why it's okay to use excessive force is shocking. And me being a black male in 2004 that was literally handcuffed, pepper sprayed, beat up to unconscious. Then I was put in an ambulance truck. My friends that were there thought that I was going to the police station or the hospital, could not find me. And you want to know why? Because I was left on the side of the road on I-35 in Dallas. And when I came to, I was disoriented, trying to get into some stranger's car. Another cop stopped off. I told him I don't know where I was, and he took me to the hospital. So I do understand that there are great cops out there. And again, my uncle's a cop, so I understand. I'm ex-military, my dad's Marine, so there's not a lack of not realizing our role in America as an American citizen, right? Especially the ones that actually put their lives up and serve, right? That was willing to actually not only have opinions, right? Because there's a lot of people that frustrate me too, that are willing to have all these grandiose ideas and perspectives about law enforcement where they themselves have never served anything. But their suggestion on how this person, if they didn't have a background, maybe that they would believe or feel like they are warranted to live a little bit longer. And back to my case and my story about me being handcuffed, left unconscious, waking up in the middle of the street. Do you get the severity of that? I literally woke up in the middle of the street. Like they left me for dead, or they left me close enough to the hospital that they didn't want to get found. And so when I go to my friends with this information, they tell me, well, what were you doing in Dallas at that hour, right? What were you doing down there? Why were you down in that neighborhood? Because the neighborhood was Cedar Springs, which is a gay neighborhood, right? And so does that matter? And so then when I tried to get it picked up by another attorney, they didn't want to touch it, right? So what do you think that has on my psyche as an individual in America, and especially in Texas, right? That when something happens to me, I'm now asked, like, what did you do? Why were you down there? Did you comply? Yes. Again, I know how to follow instruction, right? And I'm sorry if I'm coming off angry because I am frustrated. I am angry. I tried to wait till my emotions got a little bit happier, but I feel like it's not going to get there until I just really tell you how it is. In the second incident that would happen to this guy getting tasered, I was coming home from Dallas with a white female, blonde hair, blue eyed, looked like an all-American girl next door. She gets pulled over for a DWI. I am asleep because I was drinking. That this was like in 2008 or 7. And as I come to, the car's already stopped. And I hear a banging on the window by an officer that says, "Sir, can you get out of the car?" And I'm like, I don't know what's going on because, again, I was drunk, disoriented. It was raining, actually. And so he repeated himself and he said, "Sir, can you step out of the car?" So I step out of the car. He hits me with a PI instantly. He says, "Put your hands on the car," which I did. Then he handcuffed me and took me to jail. So then when I give this information to another person, they're like, "Well, why didn't you refuse the officer?" I am a black male in America. I know what happens, period. Like you say, "Yes, sir." Even though like you know that there is no winning. There is no saying no to an officer when you're out there by yourself. And then this female, which never spoke to me again, literally got off her DWI. And see, this is the privilege thing. And these are the things that but when it's me, right, it starts being isolated to one incident. But what people don't realize and understand that this has been going on from day one. And then they don't want to hear that oh, in slavery, when we were free, we didn't get our acres and land. It's because we were slaves, right? So we knew how to till the earth. We know how to grow. We knew how to grow crops. We would have been able to provide for our families, right? And then if that wasn't bad enough, it's no education, right? Keep us dumb, keep us uneducated, keep us in fear and in superstition, right? And then you get the segregation. Then we're second-class citizens, right? Then we're fighting for the ability to vote. Then we have to build the green law, the green book, right? To allow a safe passage in the South so that we don't get hung or lynched if we ran out of gas or we couldn't find a motel or a sleeping facility that we can lay our heads down safely. And then we build wealth in Oklahoma, right? And then we get bombed by our government. Then they inject us with syphilis. Then we fight for this country over and over and over again, get to be promised certain things in the GI Bill, only to never get that. And this is the thing that you can't, the frustration is, okay, yes, this was a long time ago, but I was telling this individual that wanted to have a conversation, right? When you go see a doctor, what is the first thing they ask you? Does high blood pressure run in your family? Does cancer run in your family? Because these things are important to know why you're there, why the mental or physical condition has manifested or showed up in your life like this. And so it is important that you do understand that from redlining to putting black people in certain areas and lessening the income. It's important that we understand that this isn't a black American problem. This is an all-American problem. And my heart and goal, right, is for unity, right? Because all of my friends are of different nationalities. I'm not fooled by that, but I also understand that they were getting a different experience in America.